good evening everyone. Welcome back to Apex Online Racing. We were absent last week, but we are back now with 4 straight weeks of exciting hype energy PlayStation 4 F2 action, and it could be a very important 4 weeks in this league. If you weren't with us for the last couple of races before our short break, Kiski dominating at the moment. He has won the past 3 races, and that gives him a big lead in the championship. Luke Etheridge here tonight commentating on the United States Grand Prix, round 6 out of 12 in season 19, and alongside me, Austin. And Austin, Kiski's rivals are really going to have to step up the game, because it doesn't seem to matter what you throw at him, he seems to be up to the challenge.
Yeah, very much so. 3 races now in a row that he's won, absolutely dominating. Over that span, he's scored 75 points, obviously. Looking at it, no one else has gotten close to 40. So there's no clear... We had 3 drivers in those 3 races, three different drivers finishing in second place. There's only one driver who finished on the podium twice, and that was Johan. Second place in Britain and third place in Japan, but last time out in Italy, only P11, not even a singular point. So you can tell Kiski really is the one who's dominating this here, and he's trying to get off to another good start.
Yeah, hopefully, for his sake, he'll be able to have another good race today. It was a bit harder for him last time out in Italy. His teammate, his new teammate, Loney, who has moved up from a reserve position, definitely put forward a fight. But as you said, some of his other rivals have fallen back slightly, like Iamotti, to name one. We just go through some of the other drivers that are here tonight who might have a difficult race. Thyman and Sam both getting qualifying bans for too much corner cutting during the qualifying from the Japanese Grand Prix. So way back 3 weeks ago, the stewards have punished them quite heavily for that. And we've seen Thyman in action around this track before, Austin. I thought he'd have been a good driver tonight, but that is going to make it very difficult for him to get some good points.
Yeah, definitely. And the one thing you don't want to be involved in is the turn 1 carnage, and obviously the best way to avoid that is by qualifying high. That opportunity has now been taken from Thyman and Sam, so they're both going to have to try and find a way to navigate turn 1 cautiously and get out of it without damage.
Yeah, another man who'll be looking forward to a good race tonight. It's his 100th appearance in the F1 leagues here at AOR. It is Giggs. He is now out on his first flying lap of this qualifying session, coming around turn 10 now, running as wide as you dare as you head heavy braking into turn 11. You might even see a few overtaking moves during the race there, but most people will wait it out for this long back straight. DRS wide open now on that Force India as you head down to the fastest part of the circuit, reaching about 205 mile an hour there into the braking zone. So that's 328 kilometers an hour, heavy braking for turn 12. And this stadium section, Austin, it's fantastic to watch cars go side by side through there. 4, 5, 6 corners sometimes. The battle can continue for that long.
Yeah, it really starts at turn 12 on the end of the longest straight on the track, the second DRS zone, where you also have the speed trap right at the end. That's where it really begins, and then it's left, right, left, right. The triple right-hander there, the Istanbul-esque corner. And then even turn 19 is so open that you can still try and make an overtake happen there. And then obviously final corner, turn 20, the left-hander is such a heavy braking zone, even though you don't come to that corner from a long straight, but because turn 19 is so open, you still carry a lot of speed through there. And so turn 20 is a heavy enough braking zone. If you're still fighting, you can make it stick there. Then obviously the DRS zone on the start-finish straight, and then into turn 1, which by that point you really should finish your move. Usually by turn 2, 3, when you come to the S's in the first sector, that's when a driver is usually going to back out, because those corners do not go side by side at all.
No, you'd have to be pretty crazy to try and follow a car through there side by side. So now Sam and Thyman have both retired from the session, obviously. And it is last week's pole sitter, Suso, the only man so far to get underneath a 1 minute 31. This time out, he is reserving in the Red Bull as a replacement for Dynastics. Jack in third place in the other McLaren. We've just been on board with Iamotti, and he is in sixth. And we did think after the first two races that Iamotti might be running away with this championship slightly, but seems to have struggled a bit since then, but showing a few signs in Italy that he's getting back to his best.
Yeah, sixth place last time, certainly an improvement from 12th and 11th in Britain and Japan respectively. So the curve, the trend is up for him, and well, the hope for him is that he continues that trend. And if you remember last time in Italy, he qualified in P3, then only able to get a P6 out of it. I would not be surprised if this time around things do go better for him. Right now he is in P6 in qualifying, but obviously with 12 minutes still left to go, things can change quite drastically. And I think that Iamotti might be one to look out for, especially with the week break that we had.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have been practicing the IGK driver. We'll go over the Constructors' Championships pretty quickly, and it is Mercedes who are doing very well in that at the moment. They've got a huge lead at the moment. Williams, we'll talk quickly about both Williams drivers, Aero and Sam. The first race of the season, Loney was a reserve for Williams, and Aero was the main Williams driver there, and they both looked to be near the front of the field in the race. Sam turned up in the second race of the season, pole position in Belgium, got a podium in Britain. He just seems to have fallen off the pace there, as does Aero. So do you think tonight could be a chance for both of them to try and recover? Because I called early on that Sam might have a chance of getting the championship despite missing the first race, but his pace seems to have been very hit and miss since then.
It really does, and if there's one chance for them to get back to form, it really is here. You had 2 weeks to prepare for this race instead of the usual one. You had a little bit of time to, go into yourself and just, try to find where the issue lies, where the problem is. Maybe if there's a technical issue somewhere that you can fix, you have 2 weeks to do it, and, the more time you have, the better. But now I think now they have to show what they're made of, whether they're actually able to follow up on their performance early on in the season. Aero podium in the first race, fourth place, then in Belgium. Sam also podium in Britain. They both had a podium already in the first 3 races. Since then, we had Aero getting 4 points, and we had Sam getting 0. And the thing is, apart from a DNF by Aero last time in Italy, all of that was like the other 3 were all finished. Sam finished outside the points twice in a row now.
Yeah, himself like Diamond with that qualifying ban, so he could find it a bit hard. Giggs now coming to the end of what is his second qualifying run after invalidating his earlier one, and he goes into 9th place. Avessi was looking good, but he made a big mistake in the final corner, and that puts him 10th and last out of those who have set a time at the moment. Interesting to see Aero in the Williams going out on the medium tyres as everyone else has gone out on the softs. And these softs don't really last more than perhaps 7 to 9 laps around this circuit, so the alternative strategy definitely could be one to watch out for.
Certainly, I'm quite surprised. I have to say that almost everyone's out on the softs, because you mentioned that they don't last that long. Usually, I would attempt at least to go medium to hard around this track personally, just because those tires are a lot more stable. The soft tires, when you have the compounds being the C2, C3, and C4 respectively, the C4 tire being the soft tire usually has issues with overheating, and so to avoid that, you can go medium to hard, and that would be a one-stop sorted out. Obviously, you do lose a bit of time per lap, and it is 28 laps around here, but you don't lose that much, and I would be inclined to go for either that or try and take those soft 7 to 9 laps early on if needed, if absolutely necessary, and then on to the hards as quickly as possible, because soft to medium will not get you to the end.
No, I'd be very surprised to see anyone do soft to medium, and if they do, they could find themselves struggling at the end, unless there is a safety car, of course, that is possible around here. And it's really that first sector of the lap with all the S's, reminiscent of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel at the Silverstone circuit, where if your tyres have worn out, you will lose chunks of time. Now Pasty, he's now coming around the final corner. It's not been a great season for either of the Renault drivers so far, but Pasty putting himself up into P3, going purple in the final sector, and it looks like we're here for another cracking close qualifying. The top three separated by less than a tenth of a second at the moment.
Yeah, and we have a lot of drivers as well who haven't even set a lap time yet. One thing to watch out for here is certainly the track limits, as I'm looking at Farhan right now, and he has indeed invalidated his lap. He's going on to another now, just starting it off. Jumper line, meanwhile, in the last sector, he's trying to get one, and he is one of only 2 drivers this season so far who has finished inside the points every chance he got. 5 out of 5 points finishes, the other being a championship leader, Kiski. And Jumpalainen, well, he's in 14th in the championship standing, so quite different situation there between the two. But Jumpalainen always inside the top 10. 9th in Bahrain, 9th in Belgium, 9th in Italy, 10th in Britain, and 6th in Japan.
Yeah, always consistent, but as you've just shown off, Austin, no top 5 finishes yet, and he's down in 12th at the moment. While all that was happening, both Iamotti and Johan managed to beat Suso's time, so Iamotti looking good. Once again, he needs to do well here to get his championship hopes back on track. Doesn't want to let that gap grow too big. At the moment, he's 4/10 of a second and 7 places ahead of Kiski. So Iamotti, Johan and Suso, the top 3. 6 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. And still, you've got Farhan, Pedro and Loney yet to set a lap time. And Loney could have easily won last time out in Italy. Did a great job leading early on in the race before his teammate managed to get past him. I'm surprised to see him leaving it this late. He is trying to set a lap now as Kiski just gets out of the way of his fellow Brackley driver. Loney now coming down towards the final corner, taking as much curb as you dare. Don't want to unsettle the car though. DRS open as Loney. That's the pace we've come to see from him so far this season. 1:30.5 by the standards of AOR F2. That is a colossal gap at the top of the timesheets.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff from him there. 1:30.5. That is a fabulous lap time. I'm stunned, I have to say. And we've seen Loney on pole position before, if you remember. Hold on, no, why is he listed as having a pole position in my spreadsheet? What happened there? We didn't, but oh no, he isn't. I misread that. It was Giggs. Sorry, I completely skipped a row there. But he's always been pretty high in the qualifying. If you look at the first race, he qualified P2, so he was in the front row. Obviously, did not participate in the second race due to him being a reserve driver at the time. Made the jump, and since then P8. Did not qualify for the Japanese Grand Prix, and then P4 second row last time. So whenever he had the opportunity, he was always high up there, again with maybe a slight exception being the British Grand Prix. But then again, yes, he was only in P8, but he was also only 2/10 and a bit off of pole position.
Yeah, that is just how close it has been this season. One slight lock-up, one slight bit of wheel spin out of the corners, because no assists allowed in the higher leagues here at AOR. They've got to do it all on talent. Their right foot, their left foot and their hands, the only thing that are keeping them away from the barriers. And we're just watching on board with Sam Yavin. He's starting his outlap at the moment. Got a podium last time out, the Haas driver, and he'll be pretty happy with that because, again, he's shown some pace at a few races this season. Things just haven't quite gone to plan for him a few times. He's made a few mistakes while being in a good position. So that result in Italy will definitely give him confidence, especially given the tricky conditions.
Yeah, certainly. Fourth place in Italy certainly helps him get on track, and you see the curve is just going up. He did get the fastest lap in Bahrain, but he also finished P14 in Bahrain, so did not even get a point for it. Then P14 Belgium, did not even finish in Britain, and since then, 2 points finishes, P7, P4. So the curve is definitely showing up, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do from here.
Yeah, we'll follow him around on this hot lap at the moment. It's just himself, Pasty and Aero. This will probably be their last go in qualifying. Can Samuel Bean improve? He only needs 9 thousandths to get himself ahead of Slimbo. A quarter of a second would get him up into 4th place ahead of his fellow Kometa driver Suso, who was on pole last time out. So can he find a big improvement as well? A slight bit of correction there from Samuel Bean, but he's still slightly up coming through the first sector. Yellow flags ahead. That adjusted for the slow moving Red Bull of Suso, so I'm sure he'll want to jump out of the way. He won't want too many bad messages if that's not happening. In fact, he's giving his teammate a lovely slipstream.
Oh, that is beautiful. I mean, they're driving for different teams, but they're in the same esports team, Kometa, and there you go. He pulls off to the side, and Sammy Bean says, thank you very much. Goes into the corner. What's the second sector split time saying? 12 thousandths of a second quicker. That's almost no improvement, really. It would be enough for a position if he can bring it to the start or to the finish line here. Would be P7 right now, but what does the final sector look like? It hits the apex nicely here. Oh, that is beautiful. That's a fantastic line. P9 or turn 19 runs wide. That's apparently legal. Got away with that one. No invalidation of the lap time, and comes across the line. It does get to P5, so found a bit of time there in the final sector. Not only jumps Slimbo, but also Jackita and Pasty. And meanwhile, Kiski makes it a Mercedes 1-2 for now by tying. How does that? That should not be a thing. Kiski did the exact same lap time as Iamotti. 130.812, but he is ahead. Usually, if you do the same lap time as someone else, you get behind them. I think the game might also measure tens of thousands of a second, and we can't see it, but by that measurement, Kiski is ahead of Iamotti.
We're in America. They must be using the IndyCar timing system that measures to the tenths of thousandths of seconds. But yeah, you're right. Kiski, identical time to Iamotti. That makes it a Mercedes 1-2 at the moment. There's a bit of familiarity about that. And now this time, Samuel Bean, is he going to repay the favour that Suso did? Suso seems a lot closer, though, I think, than Samuel Bean was.
It's perfectly timed again. And Samuel Bean pulls off, and there we go. We just did it. We just saw it again.
It's a brilliant
teamwork. It's some lovely teamwork there.
Yeah, 5th and 6th at the moment, and we saw that did help Samuel Bean. It's helped Suso a hell of a lot more because he's gone purple in Sector 2 as the checkered flag is out. Can anyone challenge a Mercedes? As I'm saying that, Jack Eater, great lap from him in the McLaren. Things haven't gone to plan so far for him, but he's provisionally on the front row at the moment, splitting the two Mercedes. So we're going to see the two main championship rivals on the second row unless we see some more improvements. Suso's looked pretty good round this final part of the lap, but no improvement in the end, I don't believe. Stays in 6th.
Yeah. All he needed was 11 tenths of a second and he would have got up to P5. In fact, all he needed was half a tenth and he would have been up to P4, as Johan now moves up to 2nd place and beats out Jackie Eater for the front row. Kiski back into the pits. Is Loney still trying? No, he invalidated his lap. Iamotti also invalid. Marco Krisman still coming through the final corner, but he has taken his speed out of it. And that concludes the qualifying session.
Yeah, qualifying concluded as Loney heading round anyway, just to get a bit of practice in. He is on pole position for this American Grand Prix. Johan just behind. He's constantly the bridesmaid here in AOR F2. He's had 3 podiums so far this season, yet to get a win. He's starting on the front row, and with the way that turn 1 feeds in, I'm sure he'll be going for it. Great qualifying from Jack, and you've got Kiski and Iamotti. Identical time. I'm sure we're going to be seeing plenty of battling between them two in the race.
Yeah, certainly. We're going to see plenty of battling between all these guys, I think. Seeing how close this all is. And Kiski, remember last time Kiski started in P6 at Monza, went on to win. Now he's got 2 places better, so this should be easier for him, right? That's the idea. Whether that will happen, Well, we're going to have to wait and see because it is quite... It's not as easy to overtake here as it is around Monza, but it is still quite easy to do.
Yeah, so what can he do from 4th place? But it's his teammate Loney taking his first pole position of the season. In pole position, Johan just behind in 2nd. Great qualifying from McLaren. They're 3rd and 5th with Kiski sandwiched in between the two orange cars. Then it's Kamita 6th and 7th. The slipstream's definitely helping out Suso and Samubin. Past the 8th. Marco Kriesman 9th, Slimbo in 10th. Giggs starting 11th in his 100th race, and he'll have free choice of tyres, so that could be a good opportunity for the Racing Point to get some points. Furhan 12th, Max 13th, and then it's Aero, John Polainen, Aresi and Pedro, and Sam and Thyman not setting a time. Watch out for those two throughout this race.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that John Polainen P15 has pretty much rivaled... Oh no, almost rivaled his worst qualifying so far this season. Oh, he really hasn't. Wow. P17 in Bahrain, P19 in Belgium, 15 in Japan. So he generally qualifies that low and still manages to get inside the points every time. So John Polainen may be one to look out for moving up the field once again as he starts from P15 to still somehow finishing the points.
Yeah, so starting in 15th should be fairly easy if he's done it from 17th and 19th at some parts. It looks like beautiful sunshine for what would only be the 3rd fully dry race this season if it stays that way. Overdrive is readying up.
Don't jinx it.
I mean, it's Austin, Texas. Surely the weather doesn't change that quickly.
I've seen weirder things happen before, so it looks there's not a single cloud in the sky right now. But again, I've seen just recently, very recently, in another league that I commentate in, I've seen it go from not a single drop of rain to DRS being disabled in less than a lap.
Yeah, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be safe unless someone accidentally gives the keys to the sprinklers to Bernie Eccleston. Overdrive is now still just getting ready. Hopefully, everyone will be able to connect okay. There's always that slight bit of panic when it takes a bit of time. Must say, though, great lap in qualifying from Loney. And Jack as well, he's really impressed me because he's not really been near the front so far this season, but he did fantastically well there.
Yeah, he's showing his old former self, really. Remember last season in the F3, where most of these drivers last season were racing. If you remember, there was Iamotti, Johan, Pedro, Aero, Marco Kriesman, Slimbo, Jackie Ita. They were all in the F3 last season. And Jackie Ita came in last season and had, what was it? I think 7 points finishes in the last 7 races, of which he had, I think, about 4 podiums. Just out of nowhere as a rookie. So I think tells you a little bit of the story here. 6 races, 6 points finishes, 2 podiums, 2 pole positions as well, and 67 points in 6 races. So he did fantastically well, showing up for the first time here as a rookie. And I think we have some kind of issue. John Polainen has left the session. We might have to restart. There's a Renault already on. Wow. Sam is disqualified. Everyone's leaving. I think we're going to have to restart this.
Yeah, I think soon we'll be getting an invite to another session.
Yeah. Something has gone horribly wrong. You see a Renault there at the front row, or beyond the front row, just with his tire completely gone. You see another Renault just driving. Who is the Renault who's out? That's Furhan. Yeah, Furhan is out, apparently, even though he's still listed as not out. And you see some cars going and others not. Yeah, more and more drivers leaving the session. Something has gone terribly wrong. And I'm going to try to monitor the messaging there. Let's see. What are the drivers saying right now? Because they're all messaging like crazy.
Yeah, I think Sam got a bit of a shock when he said he was disqualified.
Well, Sam said he disconnected. He said DSC. And then let's see. Yeah, Iamoti's asking whether he has to recreate the lobby. And yeah, then Sam, 3 minutes, he disconnected, then he reconnected, and then he was very surprised that he was disqualified all of a sudden. So, yeah, it also told Slimmer apparently that he didn't move from the starting grid. But yeah, this is going to be interesting here. Let's hope the admins are able to recreate the grid. We're going to have to leave this here now and wait for another invite. We very much apologize for the... Let me quickly see. The good thing is they can use the stream to make sure that everyone's on the right compounded tire, for example. That is something the drivers are going to have to look out for themselves, and we're obviously going to help with that. But yeah, this is thankfully something that we can monitor, because we do have the standings, obviously, and the custom grid will be made. And yeah, the top 10 on the softs, everyone else can go onto whatever tire they choose. Those are the rules, obviously. Let's see, we do have invites. We do have invites.
The only slight advantage for those who have started on the top 10 is, obviously, with the custom grid, they've put no wear into that soft tyre, so they'll have a nice brand new shiny set, which might just get them an extra lap or two.
Yeah, 2 already stretches it, I think. 1 lap is probably what it's going to end up being, so they can go 1 more lap. Isn't going to make that much of a difference, but does it help the top 10? Sure.
Yeah, it definitely helps. Definitely won't hurt any of those in the top 10. So a quick reminder, it was Loney who managed to get pole position in the Mercedes. He put up a good fight last time out against his teammate Kieski. It'll be interesting to see if he does the same again. If they do get into a situation where they are racing side by side. Quick reminder, it's Kieski 4th, Iamotti, who is at the moment 35 points behind him in the championship in 2nd place. He will be starting 5th on the grid after setting an identical lap time. Jakita was 3rd, and it was Johan in 2nd position. And I wonder whether they'll set the weather to clear as well, because it was clear at the start, or we could end up with completely different weather in this race, so that might negate the tyre question.
That could happen. However, I think it would probably be the best call to just set the weather to it's set to dynamic, so we could actually get a wet race. But I think it might be a better call to just set the weather to clear.
Yeah, well,
unless the drivers had some kind of information that there was going to be rain later on, in which case you can add that as a scenario as well, that you start on in dry weather and then have it transfer to rain later on. Obviously, the game's going to do a little bit of, let's say, a little bit of magic there in the background where you don't know when exactly it happens, but yeah, you can definitely recreate the weather situation. However, it seems like it's going to stay on dynamic here.
Yeah, speaking as someone who lives in the gloriously ever sunny country of the United Kingdom, I really wish the weather forecasters in real life was accurate as the Codemasters weather forecasters. If they tell you it's going to start raining in 15 minutes, it starts raining in 15 minutes, no earlier, no later.
See, I wish the Codemasters weather forecast was as accurate as the real one, meaning as inaccurate. So I wish we had a bit more guessing and, looking, what's going on? What is there? Do the first drops come down already? Or, oh, there you go. The weather has been changed to clear. So apparently it was going to be clear all race, and that is going to be the case now as well. So weather, there was no rain to come down anyway, and we're only going to get that recreated as well.
Yeah, Sam's just mentioned in the chat that it was all set to be clear in the race, so that is why that has been said. In fact, you're going to get a view of a few of the rules. Strict corner cutting, that's something that definitely wasn't in action in the F1 Virtual Chinese Grand Prix. If any of you watched that, Matt Gallagher and myself was amazed by some of the lines some of the drivers were taking around those corners. I think they've all been learning to cheat off each other.
Yeah, I mean, for some of them, it dates back to the F1 YouTubers Championship. So obviously they know how to corner cut quite well. But yeah, maybe I wonder what's going to happen now with Kiski and Yamato, because remember they set the same lap time, but the game put I think it put Kiski ahead of Yamato, even though Kiski did it later. So maybe they've rectified this and put Yamato ahead of Kiski. We'll see. We'll see. That's the good thing about having those technical difficulties. You can now change something that maybe went wrong.
Yeah, I imagine if it does get changed, Kiski won't be too happy about it, but we will wait and see. But as you say, Austin, judging by the Formula 1 rules, it is whoever sets the lap time first gets precedence.
Exactly.
On starting higher on the grid, and 97 Jerez or free drivers qualify in the same lap time. It was only the other day that I realised how close Damon Hill was as well to get in pole position in Arrows, which would have been fantastic. But hopefully this time we won't have any problems starting the session. It'll be a formation lap and then it'll be 28 laps. And we can say pretty safely now that weather is not going to change.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. It looks exactly the same as before, but now we know that it's going to be a dry race all through. And Furhan is the first one to log in his setup and everything. The thing is, the drivers are held to waiting until Iamoti, the host of the lobby, logs in his setup and his strategy. And only then everyone else should. For the reason that, some drivers do need a little bit longer time, they have to choose their setup again. That's one thing that also has changed now. And, oh no, it seems like we have a similar issue again. It's jumper line again. If he leaves again, because you see how it's loading there on Jumper Linen's name, if he might have some kind of technical, or let's say a connection issue. He seems to hold this up because it is supposed to already go. There's a 30-second timer that has run out long before, and Jumper Line is still stuck in a bit of a holding pattern.
Yeah, so it might be worth Jumper Line just disconnecting here just to try and get things underway, because I imagine if they have to restart the lobby for a third time, he might not be joining, but hopefully things will be able to get underway. I think Sam jinxed us in the chat when he said we're all set to go. we were hoping the same, but that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. You can see everyone there in the expensive seats, and Jumper Line has left the session.
Yeah, and he's disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. What is going on there? I think we're just going to have to go on without Jumper Line, unfortunately. Is he saying something in the messages? Let's see now. Someone else, Suzo, said that Jumper is loading, but yeah, it seems like Jumper Line is the one who held this up. Now that he's gone and disqualified for some reason, parking in a dangerous location, I'm not sure how the game justifies that. But yeah, everyone else is underway, and it seems like, unfortunately for Jumper Line, that's a wasted day, really.
And it's also the streak of scoring a points finish in every race this season ruined by things out of his control. He has rejoined the session, but his car is disqualified. Nothing he'll be able to do about that. So we are now down to 18 runners already.
Meanwhile, Jumper Line in the messaging group says, just go if it did work. So it did work, and Jumper Line says, you know what, it's okay if he's disqualified. Which, I gotta say, very, very noble from him. He could easily just go and say, listen, I want to race too. Can we just get this restarted again? But, no, I gotta say, very, very noble from him to just say, alright, it works now, so just go without me.
Yeah, he is the coordinator as well, so I wonder if it's going to be the racing's going to be a bit like when the teacher turns her back and all chaos breaks loose. We'll have to wait.
We still have the stream, so we can act as substitute teachers, if you will.
As if
plus,
anyone paid attention to substitute teachers, let's be honest.
that was my point. That's why I call those substitute teachers. But no, we also have the game still, you know, handing out penalties. So plus, many of these drivers are recording their own point of view, so they can potentially have footage of when they do get into an incident. So the teacher's not looking away. It's just the same procedure as always is. If there is an incident, it will be brought to the stewards later on, and most of these drivers are having their point of view recorded, so they have evidence for when an incident occurs.
Yeah, hopefully there won't be too many incidents. I'll just quickly go over the tyres as the cars are lining up. Everyone in the top 10 on the softs. Only Pedro outside the top 10 starting on those soft tyres. So will he work his way up through the field as we now wait for the lights to come on? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when the lights go out, we'll be racing here at Kota, and it's a great start from Johan in the Toro Rosso. He's already got himself alongside Loney, heading down into turn 1. He should have the position. Is the Mercedes going to try and hold it on around the outside? There's a bit of wheel banging between them. It's been a bit of a bad start though for Kiski. He's dropped a few places, so we've now got a McLaren 3 and 4. Suso and Samuel being 5th and 6th, but Johan and Loney swapping places. Jack holding on to that 3rd place, and everyone through the first part of the S's cleanly. That is great to see. Can Johan escape now? He said he hasn't won. He'll be lucky to do that. Jack looking very racy at the start. I wonder if Kiski just got shoved wide slightly, because didn't see anything that suggested a really bad start, although he now finds himself under a bit of pressure from Marco Kriesman.
Yeah, I mean, what? Jackita has dropped all the way from P3 down to P18. He has front wing damage on the left side as well. I did not see what exactly happened to him, but he's now all the way down. Does he show in P19 for you as well?
He's showing in P4, which will soon be P5, with some damage. He has got some front wing damage. He was looking to get past Loney on my screen, so he does seem to be battling with the cars on mine, so who knows what's happening.
That is weird. That is really weird. He's showing P19 for me right now behind Jumper Line. Does Jumper Line show as a car for you?
He's showing just circling around the back of the field on his own. I'll quickly check to see if he is actually driving it or if he's just ghosting around. He is showing, but actually in the pit lane. So Codemasters are just having a bit of a day at the moment.
Yeah.
Ask Lando Norris about his experiences with them. But out of all that, Johan already over a second ahead. So if he can keep that gap going into the next lap, he will be free of DRS. And then it's Loney, then Iamotti, Jackita. 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so it was a great qualifying for him, but a bit of a nightmare. That has freed his teammate though in 3rd place, and with Kiski in 7th, things looking good for Ilmotti so far, but very early stages. Durhan though doing pretty well, 8th place on those medium tyres. That is a gain of 4 positions for the Renault driver, and Pedro moving up 5 on his softs.
Yeah, for Pedro it's crucial to move up the order very quickly. Being on the softs among all the medium runners, you gotta get clear of them very quickly. And yeah, Jumperline has left the session. I think that's that done for him. But yeah, I'm having some issues, and yeah, Jackita. So I think Jackita shows correctly on your screen and not correctly on my screen, so I'm having issues here right now a little bit. But yeah, he's down 20 seconds on the next driver, so...
Yeah, he is showing way down at the back as well after his pit stop. There was a bit of contact there on the straight between Marco Kriesman and Kiski. Marco was passed by the Mercedes driver, but re-passed once again as he used the advantage of the slipstream without DRS, of course, at the moment, and that's cost them a bit of time to the cars in front, has put them in the clutches of Furhan, who you'd expect to struggle at the moment, and Renault, bottom in the constructors, have both drivers in the points, so they'll be pretty happy with that at the moment. Out in front though, Johan is still more than a second ahead of Loney, who's also more than a second ahead of Iamotti, but he has the 2 Cometa drivers of Samuel Bean and Suso all over the back of him, as Marco Kriesman's having to go defensive here into turn 1, and you know you can do it all the way around the outside. Kiski's trying, Marco Kriesman's gone deep, and the Mercedes driver says thank you very much. He is up into 6th position.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have Alessi and Max both in the pits, changing for new tyres, and I think changing the front wings as well. Not sure, I couldn't catch it unfortunately. But yeah, they're both in the pits. They're both back out. Max in P17 and or sorry, P16, because it's, again it shows Jumper Line, but He's not driving. And so, yeah, Max in P16, and then Aresi down in P18. Again, we do have to exclude jumper line there out of that one. So Aresi actually behind Jackaita, but and now Max as well behind Jackaita. So out of the pits comes Max, and instantly gets overtaken by the guy who qualified all the way up in P3.
Yeah, out of those that started right at the back after not being involved in qualifying, they're currently 13th and 14th, and Thyman trying to go around the outside of Sam. We've got a great battle going on here, and I think it's being caused by the Renault of Furhan struggling a bit more on those medium tyres, which is to be expected, of course, but he's been passed by Pasti now, who will look to catch up to Marco Kriesman as we see a few cars running wide there, but you can get away with it. Further upfield, though, Iamotti still more than a second behind Loney, not really losing too much time, keeping that gap constant at just over a second, but of course he's dragging Suso and Samu Bean with him, who both have DRS.
Furhan went a little bit wide into turn one, went a little bit too deep, and Pedro says thank you very much, takes that position off him as well. Clean move, easy move, he made it look easy, and Pedro now up to P9. He is the last of these soft runners, with the exception of Slimbo, who's a bit further down the order, but you know, of this block of 10 soft runners inside the top 10, and effectively he almost switched positions there. 9 soft runners there. He effectively switched position there with Slimbo. He qualified in P10, and obviously Jackaita dropped down the order after his pit stop. He also started on the softs.
Yeah, so Pedro now having a look at the back of Pasti, just a bit too far behind maybe to sling one down, but inside it's going to have to be a Daniel Ricciardo-esque move, and he thinks about it but decides not to go for it. Pasti compromising his line slightly, and we will see many battles through this section as the race goes on. Renault Power versus Honda Power. Who's got the better traction down? Door slightly open there from Pasti, but Pedro too far behind to do anything about it. Interestingly, Max pitted again then to put on the medium tyres, so I'm not sure if he damaged his car straight out of the pits or if he just put the wrong tyres on. But Max scored points in the first 4 races, didn't finish in Italy, and it looks like it's going to be another non-point score for the Racing Point driver here tonight.
His decision could be to just take those mediums as long as possible, maybe go on to the softs to make sure no one else gets the fastest lap point. He just wanted to get the hards out of the way here, but meanwhile Pedro on the switchback against Pasti. What a fantastic move there by the Spaniard. Look at that, Pedro up to P8, that was beautiful.
He's had a podium this season, and it's driving like that helped him towards that. He is up into P8, and Marco Kriesman will be his next target. The Ferrari has dropped back behind Kiski now, who isn't really catching up to Samu Bean and Suso. They are being DRS assisted, obviously, as well. Iamotti slightly closer to Loney, and is in fact just outside the DRS zone again. That could be crucial for this race if he gets within it, but it's still Johan, Loney, Iamotti. The gap's staying pretty constant at the moment as Suso just pulls out of the slipstream there. Quick reminder, just to remind Iamotti that the Red Bull driver is there, but both Red Bulls in the points as well, both Mercedes, and still both Renaults just hanging into the points in 9th and 10th place, although they have got the Williams of Aero and Sam all over the back of him, with Thyman wanting to get involved as well. 9th to 13th, you can barely separate them, as Furhan, is he looking for a move down the inside of his teammate? There's a bit of contact there. It's not ideal from the two of them, but the Williams weren't close enough to take advantage.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy in the pit lane, in the box of Renault. Whenever there's, Furhan again pushing his luck there against his teammate. And I'm pretty sure Pasti is going to be happy with this either. Here goes Furhan on the DRS. Can Aero somehow capitalize as well? He cannot. Furhan takes the wide line. There goes up. They're building a little bit of a mobile chicane, a little bit of a roadblock. The two Renaults and the Williams don't really find a way past. So they go side by side through the S's. Unbelievable. Why would you do that? I said before, if you do go side by side through them, one of them's going to have to pull out. And thankfully Furhan did so, as Pasti dared it round the outside of the first part of the right hand of turn 4 and actually made the move stick. Fantastic stuff, but man, that's not necessary. Here goes Aero, a little bit deep into the corner and almost spins around and also compromises Sam's exit. So I doubt that that's going to be an overtaking opportunity, as Farhan also has the DRS to defend.
Yeah, Thyman, though, he's very close to the back of Sam, who did get compromised, so maybe he'll be able to have a go down the inside there. Sam's still hanging on, so Thyman not going to be able to get the move done yet, but he's going to have to play the long game, as you so often do around this circuit, nearly losing control of the car, well held by the Haas driver. On that lap, Loney and Iamotti did pit. They have come out in 14th and 15th on those medium tyres. So going for the undercut, will that see anyone else coming in this lap? We've got Johan Suso, Samuel Kieski, Marco Kriesman, the top 5 at the moment. And it all looks like they're staying out for a bit longer.
Yeah, very early here for Loney and Iamotti to go in at the end of lap 5 they did. So 23 laps on those mediums. I think this is a 2-stop there. Medium now remaining for them, because I doubt that you can take the mediums over 20 laps around this circuit. I mean, you can try, but it's challenging. It's difficult.
I have seen it done before, but you are pretty much driving on the canvas by the end of this race, so it's possible maybe a safety car would be an ideal situation for either of them at the moment. Sam did get ahead of the Aero, got ahead of the Renault of Farhan Racer, so he is now up into 8th place, splitting the 2 Renaults further upfield.
Here goes Sam. Whoa! Sam tries it, and Farhan. I don't really know who to blame here. Sam dives for the inside. Farhan just acts like Sam's not there and just turns in on him. I don't know who to blame here. Both could have avoided that, I think. And there goes Thyman down the inside, and this time it's pretty easy for him. Makes the move stick on Sam and moves up to P10.
Yeah, all these guys are on the medium tyres, of course. I think Sam be wishing he didn't go for that move. Now, I have known him go for a few late lunges. Sometimes they pull off, sometimes like that one, it didn't. So he is now outside of the points. Further back, Loney has got ahead of Giggs, as now we are seeing the top 3 cars come into the pits. Kieski deciding not to follow them, so championship leader taking the lead of this race. Marco Kriesman and Pedro staying out as well, and maybe Sam got damage there because he's pitting as well on those mediums.
Yeah, that could very well be the case from that incident he had there with Farhan in turn 11, in the braking zone of turn 11. I'm going to keep an eye out on him. Right side looks good. Does he change front wing? No, he does not.
Very early pit stop then.
Goes on to the softs. What is Sam doing? Is that a I think that's a 2-stop. Medium, soft, medium, probably.
I mean, it has to be a 2-stop unless he plans on driving around at a snail pace to get them softs to last 21 laps. So we saw him make a strange decision in Japan with a late pit stop under the safety car, which dropped him a few places, and looks like he's going for a different strategy, but it's always wise in hindsight to say whether it'll work or not, and you've got another 21 laps to decide whether it will. But further upfield, Pedro very close to the back of Marco Kriesman, not close enough to have a go into the hairpin at turn 12. Thyman was close enough to the Renault of Farhan Racer though, and he has managed to get past the Renault for now, because you know you can fight back at any point through these corners, but not close enough to have a go. So I think the Haas looking good at the moment in 5th place, started from the back of the grid, and he'll be wanting to pick up a decent points score today. But it is Kieski now heading into the pits. Marco Kriesman making a very late move, as did Pedro, and in fact that's earned the Ferrari driver a 5-second penalty for corner cutting.
I think he might get that one removed later on, because it considers him to have cut the final corner, but he obviously did that to go into the pits. I think he might get that one removed after the race. He thankfully does not have to serve that penalty, or did he? No, I don't think he did. So it you know, usually you serve these 5-second penalties during the pit stop. You just wait there for 5 seconds, but I don't think he did, because he got it so quickly before the pit stop. And yeah, that means he might be able to get that removed, as he probably won't pit anymore this race.
No, he'll be wanting to go to the end on the mediums. He's come out down in 14th position. So it's now Aero in the lead of this race. The net leader, though, is Loney. He is ahead of Johan after that, so the undercut has worked for the Mercedes driver, but he does have 2 older tyres, and they're both in the DRS with Furhan just ahead. And Aero, Thyman and Thurhan could be going quite a bit longer here on these medium tyres. If they want to put those softs on towards the end of the race, you'd be expecting them to try and drag out possibly another 8 or 9 laps out of these mediums. So towards the end, they'll be sitting ducks for these guys, but it could help hold them up, and that might give Iamotti the chance he needs to close up that gap. He's currently in 6th position at the moment, and Sam Yabin, I believe, did get ahead of Suso in that pit stop period as well.
Yeah, indeed. Suso now dropped all the way down to P9 as he is trying to find a way past Giggs. Giggs gets a slide on all by himself. There was no... I was thankfully on board with Suso at the exact right moment. It was first to slide from Giggs, then the touch by Suso. And now Suso, with the better run and the DRS, gets past the Portuguese driver in his 100th race. But good news for Giggs, he is still in the points.
Yeah, still in the points, still yet to pit as well. We'll just get the pit stops up quickly. As you can see there, the front 3 and Giggs, Jompalainen is still showing. Apparently the game gave him an invisible car to try and drive to restart, which I suppose would be really good for some launchers if no one can see you coming, but unfortunately Jompalainen won't be getting any points today. Marco Griezmann, he might have a bit of trouble scoring points as well with that 5-second penalty, but as you say, Austin, he may get that removed as Loney is used for DRS to get ahead of the Renault of Furhan Racer. Is Furhan going to try and fight back? No, in fact he's going to have to defend from Johan, who goes into the back of Loney. Loney spun round by Johan. Johan sensibly waiting there for the Mercedes driver, but that's put Sam Yabin and Iamotti right onto the back of these.
Yeah, Johan also with front wing damage now on the right side there. End plate's gone, and I think a little bit more than that. So for Johan, the question is now, is he gonna come into the pits? I think so. With 18 laps left, I think you want to get rid of that damage. Although he does stay out for now, surprisingly, I think Johan's gonna have to come in rather soon. You lose so much time per lap just from that damaged front wing. I think you lose about probably a second a lap just because of that. So add that up. It's 18 seconds, meaning if he's not destined to come in again at all, well, you know, that's 18 seconds lost. If he does come in, though, with the change of the front wing, that would make it, what now, 25, 30 seconds almost? You gotta remember, 8 seconds for the front wing change. That's how much additional time just the change of the front wing takes. That's 8 seconds. And then, obviously, the pit stop loss is around, I would assume, 22, 23, 24 seconds, making it easy 30 seconds. So, yeah, staying out, actually, the smarter call here.
Yeah, it's just whether that has such a detrimental effect on his tyre wear. He's doing all right at the moment. He has got the DRS to help him down the straight, so that is why Sam Yabin couldn't get past. But all of a sudden, we have got a fantastic battle for the lead brewing here between multiple cars. You've got Loney, Johan, Sam Yabin, Iamotti, Suso, and Kiski, all within 4 seconds of each other at the moment. So that's 6 cars who are looking pretty good. Out in front, though, on track, it is Aero, just about to start lap 12. Got his fellow VRT driver behind him of Thyman in second place. He'll be going long on those medium tyres. What can the Haas driver do? If he hadn't had that qualifying penalty, it'd have been one of my tips to win today, and he has shown some good pace so far.
Here goes Loney. Turn 1 on Furhan. Furhan, remember, still not stopped, whereas Loney did. So this is on track for position, but effectively really isn't. And Loney just sent it up the inside. Wow. That's the difference between fresher medium tyres and the older medium tyres of Furhan there. Wow.
Yeah, good move by the Mercedes. I don't think you'd have wanted to be stuck behind that Renault on those older tyres around that section. He won't have DRS, but I can't see the Renault driver being able to fight back. He'll be too busy defending from Johan, who is carrying on, so the longer it goes, the more likely it is that he will try and stay out with that damaged front wing, and he's still in a net second place at the moment, and got a pretty good exit out of that corner because Samuel being not able to do anything. And I think it was in fact Johan who was trying to pass Furhan when he collided into the side of Loney. I think he just locked up and went in a bit too deep, so a shame for him, but definitely I think he knew it was his fault and made the right call by waiting. And my goodness, I thought Furhan was going to tap the back of Loney there. I think that's the last thing the Mercedes driver needs, so he's now free to try and catch up to Thyman and Aero, and Johan still yet to go past the Samuel. He looked for the move there, and in fact he's tapped the back of Johan, which has sent the Toro Rosso off the circuit, and that's allowed Samuel and Iamotti to get through there.
Yeah, and that's a move that I don't think was on all too much, and we've seen before with Johan and Loney how Johan waited. Pretty much of a gentleman's agreement. I think Johan knew he was at fault. To avoid a post-race penalty, he decided to just wait for Loney and give the position back. And Sammy Bean does pretty much the opposite thing. He just says, you know what, if I don't know if I'm at fault, I'll wait for the steward's decision afterwards.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether Johan sees it the same way. I think the door opened ever so slightly coming through that long right-handers because of the damage on Johan's front wing, but was pretty much shut again by the time they got there. Unless you're side by side coming into the penultimate corner, it is very difficult to make an overtake. So that's dropped Johan down into a net fourth place. Samuel Bean now in the DRS on Furhan. The Renault does move defensive, but I don't think that's going to make too much difference. Left a bit of a gap on the inside line. Samuel Bean saying thank you very much, but he's gone deep, and the Renault, he's on older tyres, but this is for position, so he's entitled to fight his position, and he stays in fourth place for now.
Yeah, I gotta say, first for Furhan, I don't think it was the smartest way he defended that. If you want to defend the inside line in that corner, which, to be fair, smart call, you have to hug the inside line, and he just left a little bit of space open there on the inside. Sammy Bean picks up a 30-second time penalty for cutting turn 19. One of the hot spots for corner cutting here around this track. But you gotta hug the inside line. Furhan didn't do that. He left just more than a car width space on the inside. Sammy Bean says thank you very much, then overshoots the corner. So that was that done. Meanwhile, Sammy Bean tried to overtake around the outside of Furhan. Furhan blocked him off. I don't know if that was all too legal. I think that was a little bit strict defending there from Furhan, just completely blocking Samuel Bean. But for now, you know, Furhan keeps the position. But I'm going to question Furhan's judgment here, really. Oh, and I think Furhan dropped it a little bit there. Got a little bit oversteer, had to correct, and now goes to the inside. I have to question Furhan's judgment here. Now they bang wheels. Jeez. Why is he fighting this? Furhan is in a completely different race. Yeah, why is he battling?
This is just going to wear his tyres out, and you've got to do that sometimes if you're on a different strategy. Just remember that you're in your own race and try and ignore these drivers, because this is costing him time, and it's costing all those behind him time to Loney. We said we had those 5 cars separated by about 4 seconds. Loney now is 3.7 seconds ahead of Samuel Bean, who is the next guy who has pitted. So things are looking good for the Mercedes at the moment. Suso managed to get ahead of Johan as well through the S's, and I think that's why Loney, I said it at the time, he was so determined to get past Furhan, as Samuel Bean has done it now, but they've both gone very wide. Iamotti not close enough to take advantage though, and Furhan's still fighting with Samuel Bean.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. He's in a different race than they are, and you gotta remember, your number one opponent on track as Furhan goes incredibly defensive, but again, not defensive enough. And this time Samuel Bean, when they touch multiple times, I think that's a part of front wing gone for Furhan, and they all spin! They spin around, and Furhan into the wall, Samuel Bean into the wall, losing positions, and that's exactly why you should not fight this. I don't know what Furhan was doing there. I gotta blame him for this. I don't know if he caused the collision, but he should not have fought this in the first place. Your number one opponent on track always, even in a race, is time. It's not any of the other drivers. You're racing against the clock. And if you can finish the race in the shortest possible time, that means you're most likely the winner. So I don't know what Farhan was doing there. He was holding himself up by battling the other drivers, and ultimately he just paid for it.
Yeah, seems like someone agrees with you in the chat as well about that. But Suso now, he's just got past Iamotti. That puts him up into a net second place. But now, 5.3 seconds, the gap to Loney. We are halfway through this race, and still Aero and Thyman out in front, just, as you say, doing their own thing, not pitting. And Sam Yabeen, he's going to be, I think, a bit annoyed with Farhan there. But Farhan has got to think, was that really his battle? Deep down, he's going to know he's not, but he just got caught up in the heat of the moment there, and any chance of him getting points tonight seems to have gone well and truly out of the window now. But Suso up into second place. Iamotti is too far behind to have a go into turn one, and I think he was very lucky, in fact, because he was side by side with the Haas and the Renault last time through here, so count his lucky stars that he didn't get involved in that accident as well.
Yeah, meanwhile, further up ahead, it's 1-2-3 right now for the VRT drivers, Aero, Thyman, and Loney. Obviously, Aero and Thyman still have to go into the pits. So someone in the chat, Vasta Racer, was saying that Loney has won this. I'm not so sure. Loney has come into the pits very early to switch from the softs to the mediums. He might have trouble later on in this race. Yes, he's 4.5 seconds ahead of Suso. Suso has 2 laps fresher tires, though, and in the end, that might actually matter. Plus, there might be a safety car coming. That's always a possibility. And if that happens, I think Aero Thyman might be looking really strong if that happens before they go for their pit stop. And maybe a couple other drivers as well who might be looking stronger from that. So, yes, Loney is in the best position, but he's not won it yet.
Yeah, we'll see now what Suso can do now that he's got 3 over Iamotti, because he looks to have good pace at the moment, the Red Bull driver. And we know that he got pole position last time out, got onto the podium as well, I believe, in Italy as a reserve driver, and this time, almost as a reward for his result in Italy, he's been promoted to the main Red Bull team, and he is up in 4th place, but that will be second after those leaders, Aero and Thyman Peters. Kiski, he's finally got past Johan. That damage does seem to be costing him places, but it looks like he does made the right decision by deciding to stay out, because it's not costing him as much time as I thought. And we are seeing a few people now make pit stops. Giggs coming in to the pits for what I believe it was his first pit stop, but obviously Sam has come in for a second stop, as has Pasty and Max as well. So quite a few drivers are going for that 2-stop strategy.
Well, I think Pasty was involved in that crash with Samia Bean and Farhan, so I think that's why he went in. I think he got a little bit of damage from that because he went in the same lap as Samia Bean, and they're really close on track right now as well. So I think that's what happened with Pasty there. Sam was always going to come in. We know that because he was on his weird strategy where he went from the mediums to the hards to the mediums again or something. Really, really weird. But yeah, some drivers going for the 2-stop, but they're all towards the back of the field pretty much. Giggs now onto the softs. That's a 1-stop for him because he started in P11. He's back to P11 now. So, you know, nothing has changed really much for him. But he might be on a tear with those fresh soft tires. I think he's going to be faster than anyone else in his 100th race here in AOR. And he might be making some positions here over the course of the final 10 to 11 laps. Slimbo's the first one up, and that's about 4.5 seconds. I think that's possible within 3 laps.
Yeah, and quite a long way further up the field. Whether Jack does go for a 2-stop strategy or not, we'll wait and see, because he has already done 16 laps on those medium tyres after his incident earlier on, so he might be coming into the pits as well. So still a very good chance for Giggs to get a point, while things have quietened down ever so slightly, as Sam Yabeen, perhaps unsurprisingly, setting the fastest lap of the race. We'll just quickly go through the penalty situation of those who we think are more likely to win this race. You can see Loney there with 2 warnings at the moment. Suso has 2 penalties, so even if he does catch up, he's going to find it pretty hard. Iamotti, he also has 2 warnings, and Kiski, he got warnings earlier on in the race as well. So it's just Suso who seems to have penalties out of those front runners as well.
Yeah, a lot of these warnings are collisions, are, some kind of contact, and you can have as much contact as you want. That doesn't count towards your corner cut penalties. So not every warning you see on there is a corner cut warning. Remember, if you get 3 corner cut warnings, that's a 3-second time penalty. But with collisions, totally different, as Aero and Thyman now both in the pits. So Loney will assume the lead of the race right now, and Suso takes second. What is the gap going to be? Or where's Aero and Thyman going to come out? The gap is now down to 3.8, meanwhile, for Suso, but he also is under pressure from Iamotti right behind. That's going to be interesting. Where is Suso going to look? He's going to have 2 eyes up front and 2 eyes in the mirror. I don't know how he's going to do it.
Yeah, that pit stop, that strategy's worked really well for Aero and Thyman. They've come out in 7th and 9th, and they're on those soft tyres, so it's going to be hard for Aero to catch up. But Johan does have that damage, of course. If that really starts affecting his tyres later on in the race, maybe there's still a chance for Aero to move up. Thyman has Jack Eater just ahead of him, but can't imagine the McLaren being able to put up too much resistance on those much older tyres.
Well, it's 10 laps for Aero, or for everyone really, but he's down 15 seconds, well, just under 15 seconds. Make that 1.5 seconds per lap. Obviously, it's not sustainable because those softs wear out quicker than the mediums do, but he's also running against drivers who already have over 10 laps on the medium, so he should get more than 1.5 seconds per lap. Aero, I think he's definitely going to get a top 5 result here. Maybe he's going to be able to challenge for P2.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. That is a very brave call, and if he does get his way up to P2, that means he must be flying through the end, a bit like Verstappen a few years ago when he pitted for the softs at the end and got himself a rather controversial penalty after passing Kimi Raikkonen off of track, admittedly, towards the end of the race. But Aero in 7th, Thyman in 9th, Pedro, he's managed to get past Johan, who is still limping around with that missing front wing end plate. So Red Bull and Toro Rosso swapping around for 5th and 6th. But Suso, he's got that gap down to 3.4 seconds. And what we're seeing a very good demonstration there by Pirelli of some... I think I now know what Jon Palainen means about the invisible car. It's beginning to make more sense. Yeah,
okay. I've never seen that before. Yeah, the good thing is it's a ghosted... Those are 4 ghosted wheels. But that means you don't have to avoid them on track. But what in the world is that? I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say about this battle, though. Kiski trying to go round the outside of Iamotti. These two are 1-2 in the championship, and Kiski has got the move done on those 3-lap fresher medium tyres. He is up into a podium place. He always seems to gain in the race, and Iamotti, he's going to want to try and fight back. So Kiski, I don't think he's given up on making it a Mercedes 1-2 at the moment, and already Aero has got the gap down to Johan to less than about 3.5 seconds at the moment, and Thyman, unsurprisingly, getting past Jack Eater pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the gap is once Aero comes across the line. We're talking 12 seconds right now to the leader. Remember, when he came out of the pits, it was 15. So in 2 laps, he's already got 3 seconds. That would be the 1.5, and even more. Look at that, 11.5 as he came across the line. So he made up 3.5 seconds in 2 laps. Look, P2... As I said before, he might be able to get P2. The guarantee was he's going to get the top 5. P2, possible. But I think he's on for top 5 for sure, with the possibility of being or getting involved in the fight for second place.
Yeah, well, it just depends how much of a fight we have for second place. Kiski will just be within DRS of Komita this time, and Iamotti hanging on to the back. It doesn't look as though he's really got the pace to get involved in this battle, so I think 4th might be the best the McLaren driver can do at the moment, but that will be an improvement on his last couple of results. In fact, I believe it'll be his best result since taking 2 victories in a row at the start of the season. But out in front, just running his own race at the moment, it is Loney, 3.3 seconds ahead. He's got 7 and a bit laps remaining here at the United States Grand Prix, as Kiski's looking very racy at the moment, all over the back of Suso, saving his ARS. I think he's going to be using one big blast down the straight to get close, and then maybe having a go. Don't think he'll be able to have a go into turn 1, but expect it to be all over the back of the Red Bull as they head down the back straight later on.
Yeah, and this is going to be really interesting here. I'm still looking at Aero, and look at this. He's so close to Johan. He's so close. In fact, I think we're on for the overtake right here. Aero up the inside. Johan doesn't fight it much. He knows what's happening, and Johan takes the position. That's about the easiest overtake you'll ever get. And Johan, Aero up to P6 now. Next guy up is Pedro, and he can see him in the S's here just a little bit. And every now and then, and that's always a good sign for a racer. If you talk to drivers, they all feel that. As soon as you can see the guy in front of you, you get laser focused. For most of these drivers, that's true. I don't know about everyone, but for most drivers, it certainly was for me back in my active days. As soon as you see, you just you focus in. It's like, yeah, it's like nothing else, and you just find that tenth or two every lap that make you even quicker than you already are.
Yeah, it's that carrot on the stick. It's like the rabbit on the greyhound track that they're chasing at the moment, and that'll give Aero some confidence. Kiski's managed to get past Suso at turn 12 using the DRS, so he is now making it look like another Mercedes 1-2. They're looking very good in the Constructors' Championship at the moment, but can he catch up his teammate? There's just 6 laps remaining. 3.4 seconds is a huge gap, especially as the only difference in tyres is 3 laps fresher to Kiski. Will Yamotti still be able to get a chance of getting a podium out on track? Because Suso has those penalties, of course, so I know he'll get it after Parc Ferme, but I'm sure he'll want to do it out on track, and he may want to get past if he's getting held up, because Aero, just already in that one lap, pulled out 3 seconds on Johan. Incredible driving, and we know Aero's on fresher tyres, and we know Johan's got that slight amount of damage, but it just shows how good the Williams driver is doing at the moment.
Yeah, if that gap by the end of this lap comes down to under 7.5 seconds, Loney might be in danger. If Aero is able to clear the traffic in front of him quickly and overtake Pedro, he can't overtake himself. Pedro, Iamotti, Suso, and Kiski. Oh, I'm sorry. Kiski quickly, Loney might be in danger on the final lap, but you have to remember those softs do wear out rather quickly, so Aero's gonna struggle. But look at this, 7.5 seconds midway through the 5th lap on this stint. Remember, his stint on those softs is 10 laps long, meaning he's almost halfway through the stint, and he's chewed out more than half of the gap to the leader of all people that he had when he came out of the pits. It was 15 seconds. It's down to 7 now. He is absolutely flying.
Yeah, it'll be very comfortable for him to do them 10 laps, considering Kiski managed 9 laps earlier with a full fuel load, of course. The only thing that might make it a tiny bit harder for when he's trying to get past Kiski, Suso and Iamotti is the fact that the Red Bull and the McLaren will have DRS, but this time around Aero's going to have the DRS. In fact, he's got the move done before he's even got to the start line already. Aero up into 5th place. He is not messing about in that Williams at the moment. Pedro in vain looking at the cutback, but that is the Red Bull down into 6th place at the moment. As further back, Thyman, he wasn't able to get close enough to Johan, but still 8th place at the moment. You'd expect him to get past Johan and make it 7th. A great recovery from the back of the grid.
Certainly. Thyman just kept it clean through the whole race, and now he's reaping the benefits of that. Meanwhile, Aero 2 seconds to Iamotti. He's gonna use this lap 24 to catch up to him, and then lap 25 probably or possibly already on the start finish straight to overtake him. If he gets a really good final sector, there is certainly a chance. Let's see what this is gonna be. This is fantastic stuff. Aero on a completely different strategy, just flying, carving his way through the field. And yes, the gap has gone up a little bit to 2.1 seconds now. But that's because of the DRS zone. Iamotti did have DRS off of the back of Suso, whereas Aero had none. However, That's all gonna balance itself out here through the final sector. And yeah, just fantastic stuff. Under 6 seconds the gap to Loney, meaning still, if Arrow continues that kind of a run, 5.5, if he continues to chew 1.5 seconds out of Loney's time, he's gonna be able to fight for the whole last lap.
Yeah, not only that, Loney's being caught up by all these other guys as well. Kiski's got the gap down to 2 seconds. Not so long ago, it looked like he'd need about half a second a lap, and that is what he is finding. Is Loney just starting to struggle on those 19-lap-old medium tyres? It's now 1.8 seconds a gap. Kiski wants to make it 4 victories in a row for himself. He's got Suso and Iamotti not too far behind, and Aero is trying. I think as soon as he gets in that DRS zone, that will give him a great opportunity.
Yeah, but for those of you who may have seen that notification in the bottom left, it was pretty hard to see, but Kiski just got himself a 3-second time penalty. So, yes, he's closing up on Loney, but he might not be able to win this, even if he overtakes Loney. Aero, I want to check his penalties right now. He has 2 warnings. No penalty, however. Yet, that could obviously still change. But so far, no penalty, meaning Arrow might be on for something here. All he needs to do really is overtake Loney if he can do that. But yeah, the gap now 4.7. If he gets it down to 4.5 by the start-finish line, then yeah, that's not enough. He only made up a second this lap. I think he's he's come to an end here, really. This lap was not good enough, and I think we see the effects of tire wear on those softs, and that he now drives a little bit closer in terms of pace to all the medium runners, the old medium runners in front of him.
Yeah, he still might have a chance of moving up a couple of places if he gets in that DRS zone out in front. Kiski, he's getting that gap down. He caught up about a second just in the last lap. If he can get it down to underneath a second, he will have DRS down the next straight, and he has done that. He's got a 3-second penalty, but with the pace he's showing at the moment, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets past his Mercedes teammate and makes that 3 seconds. We might still have a great on-track battle here, and then a bit of a time trial to see who takes the victory. He's dropped Suso, who was only just within DRS range last time around. Iamotti was not, neither was Aero. So now that Iamotti's dropped back, that may make it slightly easier for Aero to try and move up into 4th position. Thyman managed to get past Johan for 7th as well, and Jack Eater, he's really starting to struggle now. Marco Kriesman in the slipstream of the McLaren, who's done 24 laps. It's been a very valiant run on those medium tyres, but Marco Kriesman in the Ferrari moving up into 9th position, but he does have that 5-second penalty to take at the end of the race, of course.
Yeah, meanwhile, penalty situation, if we focus on the top 6, I'm just trying to find if someone, Resi just got a penalty, and Pasti. Okay, those are not in the top 6, so we can disregard them for now. But if we look inside the top 6, we have Loney, Iamotti, and Aero, all without penalties. Kiski 3 seconds, Suzo 6 seconds. Did he add more? Yep, 9 seconds for Suzo now. And Pedro 6 seconds as well. So it's really between those 3, between Loney, Iamotti and Aero. They are the 3 fighting for this, and they have the best chance. But Kiski and Loney, let's hope the Mercedes do not pull a Spain. If you remember, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't think there was too many people, fans of Formula 1, who wanted to see some good action, and were too worried about that. But you just the pace that Kiski had, I was following him on board there. He just looked so good through that first sector compared to Loney, and he's defending hard, but I don't think he's going to be able to have much of an answer. His tyres look pretty much cooked at the moment. He's going to try and hold it, and you can just see the understeer there, not able to do anything. Kiski takes the lead out on track. He's got 1.5 laps to try and stretch that gap as much as possible. Aero has got past Iamotti to 4th place. So Iamotti is now down into 5th position out on track. The penalties will change a lot of this, of course, especially with the Red Bull of Suso having 9 seconds. So Aero looking very good for a podium at the moment.
Yeah, right now he would be in P3. Loney would take the win. As it stands right now, Kiski P2. If Aero can get that gap to Kiski down to under 3 seconds, he's on for what I mentioned earlier being P2, which you said was very brave. If he can get 6/10 on Kiski in the final lap, he gets it.
Yeah, we are on that final lap now. It's 9/10 the gap at the front between Kiski and Loney. Loney's tyres are absolutely dead, and Suso not seeming to be able to catch up as much as well. Can Aero shorten that gap down? We will have to wait and see. It's going to be a fascinating final lap. At the moment, the points positions further down look pretty much sorted, although Jack Eater's tyres are absolutely spent surely after 26 laps, but Giggs won't be in the best condition with 11 laps. Can that Racing Point get into a point through his 100th race? As Kiski, he has got the gap to 1.5 seconds at the moment. I think he's going to try and win this race. This is going to be some fantastic driving from the Mercedes driver. If he does that, it looks like a Mercedes is going to take the victory here in this race. It's just a case of which one is it going to be. And apparently, we're just getting him chatting that they're saying Loney has had a DRS failure, so that will have cost him time down the pit straight, but he was just too far behind on that back straight to do anything about it, of course.
Yeah, it doesn't matter all too much in the grand scheme of things here with the, him being too far away on the back straight already. Suso trying to maybe get second place on track, but of course with 9 seconds worth of penalties, Suso will drop down the order, possibly all the way down to P6, although no, he has enough of a gap to Pedro, who himself has 6 seconds worth of penalties, so for Suso it will most likely be a top 5 result. Anyway, Kiski comes across the line on track, but he will not be the winner after all, as Loney on penalties takes the victory. Kiski in second. It is a Mercedes 1-2 after all. And Aero, where did he start his last stint? P8? Fights back all the way to P3 and within 3 seconds of the winner.
Great job by Aero, you've got to say. Doing that, he's got to be a contender for driver of the day. Iamotti, his best finish for a while in 4th. Suso's penalties knocking him down into 5th. Pedro 6th. Thyman just finishing behind Pedro in the end in 7th. Johan in 8th with that broken front wing. Marco Kriesman 9th. Jack Eater did hold on to 10th place. And in the end, a pretty clean race there in terms of retirements. No retirements apart from Jan Palainen's ghost disqualification. We'll have to see if there are any incidents in the stewards. And Loney, he must have done very well towards the end there, because keeping that car on track with those heavily worn tyres and knowing that he hasn't got a penalty, great job from him today to take the win from pole position, of course.
Yeah, but I think we also have to give a big shout out to Aero. What we completely forgot in this whole thing is he started in P14. He gained 11 places over the course of this race. His qualifying was an absolute shocker, and he goes on to get his second podium of the season. Remember, his first one came at Bahrain at the very first race, and since then it was downhill for him. And we talked about the Williams drivers. Sam didn't really bring in the performance that we hoped he might bring in, but he started from the very back of the field, P18. But Aero, my goodness, his trend was all the way down. Remember, he only got 4 points in the last 3 races, and now his second podium. What a comeback.
Yeah, great job there from Aero. Great job from Kiski to move up to second place, but it is Loney who takes the victory here today. Apparently he was screaming when he crossed the finish line, so I'm pretty good that I couldn't hear that, because that's the last thing you want to hear over your earphones. A Pierre Gasly-esque cry across the finish line. Loney taking the win. Mercedes 1-2. Aero 3rd in the Williams. Iamotti 4th. That's his best result for a while. But for the championship situation, that now means he is 41 points behind. Suso 5th. Pedro 6th. Thyman moving up from 19th to claim 7th place. Johan, that damaged front wing costing him in the end what might have been for him the Toro Rosso in 8th. Marco Kriesman 9th. Jack Eater rounding out the points. Another case of what might have been after starting in 3rd. Giggs started 11th, finished 11th in the end. And then Slimbo, Pasti, Sam, Aresi, Sam Yabin, Max, Thurhan, the final finisher, and Jan Palainen obviously with those connection issues at the start. And can pretty much say 1 lap longer we'd have had no clue who was going to win that race, and if Aero had had 1 lap fresher tyres, he could have got himself right up there as well and potentially taken the victory. It was a great race, lots of battling out on track, as you usually get around this circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And two things still to mention here. One, the fastest lap goes to IRLT Max. Since he finished in P17, that's no fastest lap points for anyone. And the second thing is, remember early on when Marco Krisman went into the pits, he got himself a 5-second penalty for alleged corner cutting, which was obviously a false penalty. Apparently he served that at the ensuing pit stop, so that cannot get removed, unfortunately. So he's probably going to remain in P9 unless he somehow gains some positions on after race or post-race penalties in other ways, with drivers in front of him maybe being penalized for I don't know what. Obviously we didn't catch everything, but that should be P9 for him. I did not think when it happened that he actually did serve the 5-second penalty, but apparently he did, and so it cannot be removed after the race. Very unlucky for him, because that 5-second penalty should not have been handed out to him as he was on his way into the pits.
Yeah, shame for him that he got that, especially considering that Pedro was just behind and he got away scot-free from taking the same line. But Marco Krisman getting a few points in the end. I think not having that penalty might have moved him up 1 or 2 places, but again, some points for the Ferrari team. Very great race, though, from the two Mercedes drivers. Kiski this time in second place, with Loney taking his first win of the season. And a fantastic job. That makes the Mercedes team look very good at the top of the Constructors' Championship. And obviously Kiski at the top of the drivers. 41 points now, the gap to Iamotti. A lot can happen. We are still only halfway through the season. There could be retirements or connection issues, all the races that Kiski can't make. But with the form he's in at the moment, he's looking almost unstoppable on his way to this AOR title.
He really does. And for Loney, I gotta say, it was a long time coming. Remember Bahrain? He was a reserve in the... he was in the Williams, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. And he looked so strong, and then all he had to show for was a P15, because he had a I think mid to late race crash there that pushed him all the way down to P15. And then remember 2 weeks ago, last race in Italy, he looked like he could win, but he did get beat by his teammate Kiski for the win, only P2. This time around, however, even though Kiski won it on track, but Loney on penalties gets the win. And his third win ever in AOR, his first this season.
Yeah, the third different winner we have had this season. It's a fourth win for the Mercedes team. They are looking very good, of course, and will they be able to keep up that pace next time out? From myself and Austin, we'll be back next week at the Chinese Grand Prix. Thank you so much for watching and getting involved in the chat. We always love to hear what you guys think of all the incidents and action in the race, and the bits of insider knowledge that you can give us is pretty handy at times as well. But for myself and Austin, have a very good rest of your evening. Goodbye.